Hey, folks, and welcome again to the More Summer 21 Adventures, day 45. Sometimes, your body will just say enough is enough. Okay. We pushed ourselves pretty hard the last 3 days, the last 3 days. And last night, I told the wife, I said, don't set alarm. I said, you know, thinking that our body's going to get up, the normal time for us. And it did, and went back to bed. Remember now, I said no alarm, right? Got up, got my medicine, went back to bed, and finally got out of bed. What was it, Mama? 9:45. Yeah, and that's all right because she came out here to the couch and laid down and rest too. I don't know if she went to sleep, but I know when I did get up, she was laying down on the couch here. So after she had done her devotion, she may have went back to sleep. I don't know, but she said she heard me snoring, so she knew I was still asleep. But all that's good, okay? Because that's what we had planned on doing anyway. I wasn't going to stay in bed that long, but I was planning on staying in bed longer than what we had the last 3 mornings. And part of the reason that we're up here, not only just to see Vermont, we could have done that in the lower part of the state, but I have two friends there in Carolina that are from upstate New York, just an hour from here. So today we went back to their hometowns and took some pictures and sent to them and said, surprise, surprise, guess who we were. And I think they were surprised. Who would want to go to those little towns, okay? But we did. And we had a good time. And then the rain came. And folks, during this video, if you hear it, it's still coming down, okay? I think the next 4 or 5 days is supposed to be rainy. So our best day was yesterday coming in, and then this morning. Excuse me. On the way back, we stopped to, on the way down there, we were still in Vermont. We went to a little town, something Corners. I can't even remember the name of it now. But anyway, on the way out in the south end of town, they had a farmer's market kind of thing, dealing primarily in apples and maple products. So on the way back, we got twisted around and whatnot, and GPS taking us one way, and we were wanting to go another way. Finally found it, got some things there, support the local economy, and came on back, checked out a restaurant that was recommended to us, and checked out the menu, and it wasn't really, I'm not going to, it may have been okay, and I'm not going to mention the name because, they were good items, but it just wasn't what we were in the mood for. And I don't know, maybe it's just this area, but for what they had on the menu, it seemed rather pricey. So anyway, we got back in the Jeep and found someplace else. Excuse me. Oh, my. Anyway, got to sleep just like last night, and I'm going to tell you why. So we went north of where we are because we were south, and we were still on Vermont 7. And I saw this place there, and it was Maple Works, so we thought, well, we'll try it out, Not really knowing what it was. Well, it was a maple syrup equipment supply company, all right? Similar to what I do business with my bees and bee supplies and, into beekeeping and all that. Oh, this is one of those kind of stores, but for maple, or, maple equipment, harvesting equipment. And so the proprietor there gave us the whole speech on, how it's produced, how it's, tapped, and, the old way with the buckets and now with the tubes and everything, and then how it's heated and processed. And oh, excuse me, folks, I'm so sorry. Not really. Yes, I am. But then on the way out, I said, one more question. She goes, sure. I says, where's a good place to eat? She goes, you're talking about down home, normal cooking, nothing fancy, sit down and enjoy yourself in comfort. And I says, exactly. She goes, go up the road. If you go 9 miles, you went too far. It's on the left-hand side. Got a big chicken out called Rosie's. Folks, we went to Rosie's, and one of my friends, he's a administrator for one of the websites that I post on. He texts me back and says, and he knows my aversion to chicken. He says, "You mean to go? You went to a place like this, and their logo is a big old rooster with Rosie's?" And I says, "Yes, I did, and had a good beefsteak too." But let me tell you, folks. Oh man, not only did I have good beefsteaks and gravy fries, okay, but their maple bread pudding, heated up with a large scoop of ice cream, so good. I give, yes, I was nice. I give my wife a bite, small bite, but a wife a bite, and she says for bread puddings, that's one of the best ones I've tasted in a long time. So, because sometimes you're just not sure when you go to a restaurant, but yeah, it was really good. The main course, like I say, I mean the beefsteak and the fries and the it. I should have stopped there, okay, but I hadn't had dessert in a while. Well, you know, yeah, in a while, especially with some ice cream. So, and now I got the sleepies, okay. But hey, even in the rain, you're gonna find some delight. I mean, I learned a lot about the maple production, and I asked her. I said, well, other than maple, and the cheese, of course, what's the big draw for Vermont? And she said, and she was quite frank. I said, is there any industry, or is it just tourism and maple? And she was quite frank about it. She goes, the state has really pushed the maple syrup production, and made that basically a state product, if you will. So you have the maple syrup, and then you also have Vermont cheese. She says, other than that, it's tourism. There is no industry basically to speak of in Vermont. And I mean, every place you go, it's maple this and maple that. So I mean, I can see, and I have two friends, one in Pennsylvania and one in North Carolina, who grew up in New York and Pennsylvania. That families are, well, Mark, yeah, they're in Pennsylvania. He's got a maple trees, and he produces maple syrup and blueberries and raspberries. Where we were last week. In fact, it was, well, tomorrow will be a week ago that we were there. So that's what they have. Maple syrup, the cheese, and tourism, and we were really enjoying it here, even with the rain. So I say that lady was so kind and so willing to, and she had, I say they're a supply company for the equipment. So she said, this is what they do. They drill a hole, they put this tap in, they hook it to the hose, and it goes here and it goes there. And, they, most people use wood fire, and they, boil it down. It takes like, what was it, Mom, 40 gallons of sap for 1 gallon of syrup. Okay, and that's why, that's why it costs so much. And she had pictures on the wall of when they first started, and the old, they're called sugar house that they had, and how they did it, when they first started in business years and years ago. Really, really informative. And then for her to tell us about Rosie's, oh man, it's good day. So let's speak of good things. Now it's a special part, right? Today's verse is Mark 11:24. Therefore I say to you, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you shall receive them, and you will have them. Let me read that again, folks. Make sure I got it right here. Put my readers on. Therefore I say to you, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you will have them. I had interjected shall receive them in my bad. That's why I wanted to reread that. Folks, we've had this discussion before. Last year in my 140 some odd videos that we did, and now, of course, this year I keep talking about it. God is a merciful God, but more importantly, God is your heavenly Father. Okay? And what more, I look at myself and I want to please my children. What, and in my limited capacity as a carnal man, what more can God do, being the Heavenly Father that He is, wanting to relish blessings on His children? Therefore, I say to you, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you receive them and you will have them. This is around the book of Mark. He's quoting Jesus Christ, the Son of God. All right? Through whom we become children of God. Okay, isn't that great? Folks, you say, well, I prayed here and I prayed there and I didn't get this, I didn't get that. Do your dad and mom give you everything you ask for? Or is there a time and a place for you to get what you ask for? Maybe what you're asking for is not the time and place to be asking for it. Maybe you are not ready to receive that, even though you may think you are. You are not. I've got a pastor friend. He's my pastor. He will always be my pastor, even though he's not the pastor of the church that I attend now. But he's always said, more than once, not once I always, but more than once, said from the pulpit, I pray for $1 million. I pray to win the lottery. But God knows, number one, I'm not buying a ticket. But two, if I did buy a ticket, that I am not ready to win the lottery. So even though I may ask for it, God might say no, because He's going to ask you, whatever you pray for, you are going to get an answer. Okay? Whatever you ask for, you're going to get an answer. So I just got a message here that I'm short on memory. So folks, therefore I say to you, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe you receive them and you will have them. God bless you. We're going to come to you again tomorrow night from the same place. You be blessed. Be safe. Good night.